The podcast is live. When I see that, that's what I'm supposed to say. That's one of my many tasks to say the podcast is live. Good morning, everybody out there in
Good
podcast land.
morning. Good
Good morning,
morning.
Gina Lee.
Good morning, Party Marty.
Good morning, CC.
Good morning, baby.
We are Simply Us. This is our last time telling everybody that we call ourselves Simply Us, and we're a subsidiary, a spinoff of It's Party Marty. Let's talk. I'm gonna tell you how this goes. I'm a ex-addict, so I know how it goes in the NA rooms, or how we do. It's at least the format that I see. We stand up and you say, "How you doing? My name's Marty, and I'm an addict," and we talk. You know what I mean? Hey guys, hey, we got some good news for you, BB. We got some things like that, and I try to explain to people that NA helped save my life. I ain't ashamed to say NA have saved my life, but my life is saved by my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So 30 years from now, I won't stand up and say, "How you doing? My name is Marty. I'm an addict," because I'm not an addict anymore. I'm not an addict. I'm not going to wear that thing for the rest of my life. Somewhere along the line, I've no longer become that. That's me. That's my personal feeling. That's not how everybody needs to see it, but that's me. That's how I see it. So I'm no longer going to keep saying for the rest of the time we're a subsidiary of It's Party Marty's Let's Talk, because we no longer are, right? See?
Absolutely.
It says Simply Us, a new podcast name. That's who we are. We are now Simply Us. So today is the last time that you'll hear us identify ourselves as saying that we are Simply Us, a spinoff of It's Party Marty's Let's Talk. We're going to thank Donnie Glover, BMoreNews.com, and Black Wall Street, Joe Mann's Awards, and everybody that gave us a platform and the avenue to get where we are. But now that we have the platform and the avenue to get where we are, we're claiming our new avenue. We're claiming our new platform. We're not It's Party Marty Let's Talk anymore. We're Simply Us. This is who we are. Here's my field. Here's my crew. My Gina Lee is our historian. If you're new to us, Gina Lee talks about events that happened in the past. Mostly she talks about whatever she wants, but she talks about events that happened in the past, but we would call history. So that makes her, i.e., an historian. The other person is CC Tates. If you don't know, that's my lovely wife, and she is the engineer, producer, and director of our show. So that's what she does. And when it's time to talk, she talks about current events. She's going to talk about things that's happening in the world right now today. It's never any good. When CC finishes with her topic,
I know. I'm like the Grim Reaper of the podcast.
Yeah. Real talk. When Gina Lee finishes with her topic, everybody's like, I didn't know that. Druid Hill Park, rich with history. You know what I mean? We'll find out some things today about some other events. There's a bunch of stuff going on. Hey, BB, but we are no longer going to keep howling out who we used to be, because this is who we are today. We're not Holy Roly Bible told us, but 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, "Therefore, if any man be a man in Christ, he's a new creature. All that's old is old. This is new." Well, this is a new show, and this is who we are now. We are It's Simply Us. Okay, if you don't know our format, we got a round table. We go around, talk about a few topics. Everybody gets to jump in whenever they want. Pretty soon you'll see Dr. Sutton chime in. He's our go-to advisor. We start off our show with a quick prayer. It ended with a moment of silence, and then we get on with the show. And let me try to tell y'all so that you know, shout out to my sponsor, Kurt. Once again, what I offer to the show is I'm a real person talking about real things. I'm an ex-dope fiend, West Baltimore thug. I'm an ex-West Baltimore dope fiend, jailbird thug. I own up to my shortcomings there, because there's some people out there right now that need to hear that realize people don't give up on your parents. Don't give up on your uncles. Don't give up on your aunts. Don't give up on your friends until a miracle happens. I weighed 131 pounds, but a 29 waist, sitting in every penal institution that was, strung out on dope, coke, and ratty, but not a hit. So don't tell me about God and U-turns. You don't tell me about miracles and the parting of the Red Sea and stuff like that. You're looking at a miracle. When you see this podcast, you're looking at and you're witnessing a miracle. This is something that happened out of necessity. We had the chance and we was doing our show. We was fine with it. After something happened and we could no longer do our show, we was forced to get right to action and get out there and go do our own. And immediately, Gina said we could do it. Onward and upward. You sure we could do this? Onward and upward was the cry. And that's our cry. And CC, we always shout out my great niece, Kayla. Kayla was putting it together for us that night. By the time she called us and had everything ready in the morning, we had already launched our first podcast show that night, hadn't we, y'all?
Yes.
So my group sat down, you know what I mean? CC, if y'all notice, make you laugh now, you see the names today are green. You see them, Gina? You check it out? We green now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was green yesterday. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I reminds me of the Wizard of Oz and the Wizard. He said, I wouldn't be seen in green. Remember what he said? I wouldn't be caught dead in red. You know what I mean? What's new? I'm talking blue. So CC all the colors, doing all the stops. She's the editor, producer, director, do her thing. Okay, y'all, as we say, we get our prayer now. And we always try to tell people, remember this, y'all. Prayer, as Beatrice B, my son's fiance, that I think is getting married this year, will be my new daughter-in-law. She said,
there you go, chopping up names again. We know your name, B. Bianca.
Well, B. Yeah, we know your name. Hey, Gina. I don't know if it's Gina Atkins, Acton, or whatever. Gina. You know what I mean? The other Gina, I know my good people by their names, their first names. I don't know all that other stuff. Most people don't even know my government name is Maurice Tate. So you ask anybody my name, who? Party? Yeah, I don't know who Party Maurice Tate is. Party. Hey, y'all, remember this about prayer. Remember this. Remember Gina told me, let me finish, CC? Let me finish. Don't make me do the Gina on you. Can I finish? Can I finish? I got it back, Gina. Hey, listen. Absolutely. If people don't know, prayer is nothing but faith, something that you believe in. Everybody doesn't understand that. I don't care if you're a Muslim, you believe in Allah. I don't care if you believe in Buddha, if you believe in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I don't care if you believe in podcasts. I don't care what you do. Or Gina, what else do some people believe in, Gina?
Pray in the trees.
Green Cadillacs in Drew Hill Park.
Or Wednesday on the north side of the swimming pool. Doesn't matter what you worship. We all worship one God. One God. You're all praying to one God. So when we get our prayers in, we're just praying to God. So go off and do yourself. If you don't understand, have a God of your understanding, y'all, find you one. Prayer starting. Father God, thank you for the wonderful things that's going on in all our lives. Father God, thank you for the direction that you put the podcast in. Father God, thank you for the panel. Please, Father God, may the words come out understanding that somebody understands. And the words that they don't understand, may we enlighten ourselves so the next time we present it, they understand. Father God, we always pray for the people over there fighting them God-forsaken wars, that we can sit home, do podcasts, go out, watch the Raven games, and eat bonbons. Not to mention, Father God, we're always praying for the persons that's dealing with this God-forsaken pandemic. Father God, please keep them well. Father God, the main thing we do, we pray to my cuz, big cuz, North Carolina, for God's grace and mercy. That's all we ask, is that you keep us in your circle, keep us under your umbrella, keep us in the blood. Moment of silence, please. Amen.
Amen.
You know, everybody has different parts of the podcast and stuff that they care about. And they like, you know what I mean? I like Gina because Gina gives us a lot of information. I feel like I learn something every time she finished talking. I like when the doctor speaks because the doctor makes me sit back and listen. He's the king of the one line. If you don't learn anything when Gina finished with you and when Gina finished with you and the doctor finished with you, then officially pronounce yourself dead. You can get anything out of Gina. You know what I mean? If you ain't getting nothing out of Doc, officially pronounce yourself dead. There's something wrong with you. There's nothing
True
that can
story.
happen. Yeah, that's true story. And when you finish with CC, if you ain't up in arms, if you ain't pissed off at somebody, yourself or a neighbor or the school board or somebody, then officially pronounce yourself dead. And with Party Marty, when I finish giving you my directions and stuff like that, feel what I'm saying. I'm trying to do the best I can to give you what I can from where I am. I'm just a regular guy. So without further ado, here's how we start everything. We start off by saying something real smooth. Gina and Cece will let y'all know what I'm getting ready to do. Boy, I got this thing. I know I don't care if you watch Let's Make a Deal. I don't care if you watch what's your show, Cece?
Price is Right.
The Price is Right. I don't care if you watch Family Feud. Only here on Simply Us will you get this smooth move that I got right here. Party gear. What I'm getting ready to give them, Gina and Cece, what's it called?
The segue
in.
We're ready to segue in. That's smooth as I don't know what. Watch how I do this. Watch how I do this. Feel me when I do this. I say, Good morning, Gina Lee. What's your topic today? Let's talk.
Well, good morning, panel on Simply Us. And today I have another historical figure to focus on for our topic this morning. And that topic is Miss Gloria Richardson. And I know y'all probably say, who the heck is Gloria Richardson? Well, I'm getting ready to tell you. Well, first, her maiden name was Gloria St. Clair Hayes. When she married a gentleman and his last name was Richardson. So she became Gloria Richardson. Later, she divorced and remarried another gentleman. So at the time she passed, her last name was Dandridge. But she was born May 6, 1922 in Baltimore, Maryland. And she just recently passed away July 15th of 2021 at the age of 99. Now, Miss Richardson was a civil rights activist and leader of the Cambridge movement, the civil rights struggle of the 1960s in Maryland. And this struggle also extended down to the Eastern Shore of Maryland, where she was a resident at the time. Now, she was the one who was able to get, at the time, Attorney General Robert Kennedy to sign what was called the Treaty of Cambridge in 1963. Now, let me give you an idea of what was going on there. In Cambridge at the time, it was segregated. It was segregated by a street called, ironically, Race Street. That's crazy. But they had separate restaurants, they had separate churches, separate everything. The town only had one hospital, one school, elementary and high school. And because of that, Blacks did not get a fair shake in education, in healthcare. If you had a medical emergency, there was only one room in that hospital designated for African Americans. So if the whites needed that room, then you had nowhere to go.
If the whites needed that one room, they would take the one room from us?
Yeah. And even if you were having a baby, didn't matter.
So let me ask you one question. I don't mean to cut you off. So the same room was used for emergency medical operation that we used to bring a baby in to pull your teeth. It was one room for anything that had to do.
One room. If you had a medical emergency, that room was where a Black patient went, no matter what your infirmity might be. You could lose a limb, but that's the room you were going in. You could be having a baby, that's the room you were going in. But if a white patient came in and they didn't have any other rooms, then that room was being used for a white patient. You didn't get service. You would have to travel all the way from Cambridge, Maryland, which is on the Eastern Shore, to Providence Hospital in Baltimore. That's about a 2-hour, close to 3-hour ride. So, matter of fact, one of the things that sparked this woman's activism was when her father died, because they would not accept him in the hospital. And her uncle had to drive him all the way to Baltimore. But of course, by then it was too late. So that sparked, a feeling in her. She already had, she was already upset about the situation with segregation. But she said as she grew up, she really didn't realize exactly how bad it was until she went off to college. She just thought that, kind of like, this is the way it is. This is the way we're supposed to live. But when she went off to college, and which she went to Howard University, she went to a Woolworths to get a Coke, and the person there would not serve her. And that's when she realized, okay, something's got to change. So with the idea in her head about what had transpired with her father, and then this incident just kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, she started protesting. And she got a group of college students together, and they started picketing outside the Woolworths until they would serve them. So, of course, it didn't change anything. No, but what happened was, after she finished college, she went back to Cambridge, and that's when really her eyes opened up about the living conditions, the educational system, the job opportunities, healthcare, all of these things in her community that she had kind of just taken for granted that this was how they were supposed to live. So when she went back, she started it's called the CNCC, is what she held an office. It's called the Cambridge Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And she started that organization to try to address some of these issues. Excuse me. But she realized that she was just an advisor in that group. So she started another group called the CNAC. That was in 1962. She organized this with an adult group, and she was co-chair of this group. It was the Cambridge Nonviolent Action Committee. Well, Stokely Carmichael heard about these organizations and heard what they were attempting to do. So he, asked, if he could garner his support for the group. And of course, he was, of course. So he came down to Cambridge. John Lewis came down to Cambridge. And once the protests started, then that's when the officials said that we need National Guard protection. So they sent in the National Guard, and the National Guard came in, and they were there for 18 months trying to protect these people from what they call the element. But she was like, how can you take the rights away from people and you don't have the right to do that? Only God has that right. These are human rights. We are human beings. So that was her statement. And she was known, like I said, for her activism. And one of the things that she was really known for was this picture. I hope you can see it. And she actually, when the National Guard put their bayonet in her face, she pushed it away.
The bayonet?
Yes. Dang. That's how bold this woman was.
Yeah.
And she was fearless. She did not let anybody talk her down. As a matter of fact, she where Martin Luther King was nonviolent, she said, no. If y'all attack us, we're gonna attack y'all. She was and that was one of the things that some of the organizations like the NAACP, they wouldn't really back her because she didn't take the Martin Luther King model of being nonviolent. She more or less was like, okay, I'll be nonviolent as long as y'all are, but no, if y'all attack us, we're gonna attack y'all.
That's right.
Yeah. So when Martin Luther King did his I Have a Dream speech, they actually invited 5 women to come and speak at the ceremony, but only one of them, Marley Evers, was the only one that got to speak, and she only got to speak for a minute. When they called Gloria Richardson up to the podium, as soon as she got up to the podium, the NAACP snatched the mic from her because they knew that she was going to be talking something radical.
Right.
And she told me, she said, I was going to tell everybody, don't you leave here until they sign this bill to give equal rights to all of us. She said, sit down and stay here. So anyway, she didn't get to say it. And so she went back to Cambridge and she continued to protest. And they sent the National Guard, like I said, again. And the National Guard had to stay there for 18 months. Now, but after she met with Robert Kennedy and she told him, all we want is a fair chance like your people did when they came over here, and knowing that he was Irish. He was an Irish immigrant. And they were poor when they came to this country. She said, all we want is a fair chance like your family did. We want housing, we want education, we want job opportunities, and we want health care. So they continued to protest, and finally, what happened was the people started feeding and taking care of the National Guard, and after a while, the National Guard started protecting the protesters. So I know it's ironic. So eventually the Treaty of Cambridge was signed, but I mean, it really didn't last. They had to continue to protest until, things changed. But the residents of Cambridge say that if it wasn't for her, nothing would have changed. It would probably still be segregated today. So I just wanted to honor her. She was a really great civil rights activist that we should not take for granted. She's up there with everybody we know, like Martin Luther King and everybody. She fought to her last breath. So if you get a chance, Google her, read about it, find out, more about Gloria Richardson.
Yes.
Awesome start today. Awesome start for us today. As we tell y'all, Gina Lee is our historian. She'll give you some knowledge that you didn't know. And it's very ironic. I don't know much about Cambridge, but I hear so many people from there. I guess maybe I meet people from, like I'm saying, incarceration or rooms of NA and stuff like that. I hear a lot of people.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Cambridge is right outside of Dorchester County where Harriet Tubman was born.
Wow, more knowledge I didn't know.
Right.
Karen Cunningham. Hey, hands clap for Gina. Hey, listen, this is as I do my segue in. My segue, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I don't know if that sound is me. Is that me, C?
I think that's Gina.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna turn my mic.
Let's see it for a minute. Now it might be me. Yeah, it might be. Anyway, let me tell y'all, if you don't know, you see Gina do a lot of research on her topics. And my wife Cece does research. Doc doesn't do any. I don't do any. We just talkers. We get in wherever the flow gets us in there. What we say, Doc? Get in where you fit in. We get in where we fit in. We can pretty much talk on any topic, so we get in. So right now is a good time for my segue. So I want to let y'all know where we are now. I don't know. I guess the best way to put this is to go ahead and put it in there. Y'all know we have a little thing that we've been doing about rewarding or awarding someone a trip or something from the show, Simply Us. Our first recipient is Brenda Bailey. BB, hands up. Hands up. And we picked our second recipient from participation, and it's called Edmonds. He calls himself Max. Shout out to you, Max. Like I'm saying, I just know him by their first name. Max and his lovely wife, Gloria, always can watch that show. Gloria was working most of the time, but Max had the second most comments, call-ins, and watches. So call Edmonds, Max. Also, we like to give you something else. Congrats, and you can keep right on typing while you are Miss Cunningham, aka Miss Taylor. But we're going to tell you exactly where we're going. Gina will tell you all of that. And Dr. Ted is unable to make the trip with us. So for your act of kindness, Miss Cunningham and aka Miss Taylor is our new married name. For your act of kindness at his event, donating something to his son's cause, putting a little couple dollars in there. Dr. Taylor at this time has told us that he is donating his ticket to you. So shout out to our 3 people that'll be going on our trip. Our trip is going to be the team. It's going to be Brenda Bailey, aka BB, Carl Evans, aka Max, and Miss Cunningham. Dr. Taylor has donated his seat to you, and that's pretty cool. Now at this time, Gina Lee will be giving y'all the information, where we're going, when we're going, and what we're going to do. Gina Lee. Unmute yourself, Gina.
sorry. We'll be going via the I Love Baltimore tours. This will be a tour of the basically the steps that Harriet Tubman took. You will see the mural that everybody has probably seen in pictures, but you will be able to visit the mural. You will be able to visit the Harriet Tubman Visitor Center. You will visit the store where she was struck in the head, and visions and spells for the rest of her life. You will see the church that she went to. You will see the land where the property that she grew up on, the Brodus property. Of course, the house that's there is not the house that she actually grew up in because it was destroyed by weather. But the new house that's there, gives you a sense of, what it looked like. You will see the basically will take us through Dorchester County, and it's a wonderful tour. We'll have lunch, we'll discuss what we see, and bring all of that back to you, the audience, so that you can share in it with us. So that we want to do some kind of location shows so that everybody can share in our experiences and share in our rich history. We have so much to offer. So we will be going on August the 6th, and it's about a 2-hour ride.
When is it again? When is it again?
August the 6th.
August the 6th.
Mm-hmm. Which is Friday. And we will be traveling down and traveling back. We will spend the entire day visiting these different locations, as well as learning more about the Harriet Tubman, to explore her life, basically. So can't wait to go. And this will be my 3rd time. So you can imagine that this is something that I hold dear. And I just want as many people to see and feel what I felt. It really is emotional. It's enlightening. And I think anybody needs to put this on their bucket list this summer.
Hey, listen, clap, hands up to the panel. Hands up to all award winners. Hands up, Carl Edmonds, who's our winner. Karen Cunningham, who's our winner. And BB, who's our winner of our first tour. And the other part, we're letting you know we'll also be doing our live podcast from that tour. So you will actually be in the studio with us. We'll be doing that. You'll be speaking, talking about the things you're doing. And that's really cool. What time, Gina? I think it's about, we'll know it's about, go ahead.
We should be pulling off, I believe, at 9 o'clock. So I would say leaving from Ingleside Shopping Center. So I would hope that you could meet us at the Ingleside Shopping Center no later than 8:30.
So that's just a good time. We're looking forward to that. These are the things that we're trying to get done. Gina Lee's podcast is going to be on location. That's what she's doing. These are one of the things. She'll be taking you on trips, and we'll be on location. That's really cool. I like the format for what we're doing. That gets me to segue in because I see Doc over there. He want to say something to Miss Cunningham. He made a big deal about that. And Doc, my segue in, y'all know Dr. Taylor, Dr. Sutton. I call you Dr. Taylor so many times, Ted. Hey, listen, that's it. Doc, get us to your part and get in there, Doc.
Well, you know what? It's so, really to me, I see it as a blessing every time we just had the platform to be able to share, you know, with people. And it's not about just what I teach, it's what I can learn. I tell my guys, you got 2 ears, you got 2 eyes, but you only have 1 mouth. So you should do twice as much listening and watching than you are talking. And then that's how you could actually learn. And so.
Did y'all have your pen? Another line. What was it? There you go. Did y'all hear, Pam? There you go. You got 2 ears, 2 eyes, but you got 1 mouth. You should do twice as much listening, twice as much watching as you are talking. I'm telling y'all, if you ain't got nothing else to do when the doc starts talking, have your pen so you can use up his one-liner. I apologize. Get back in there, Doc.
No, that's fine. That's fine. And it's really wild because I think one of the things that is a problem with some of our youth is that I think that they've missed out on having OGs and uncles and some, you know, fathers and just different people. Because when I see gray hair, I don't see an old man. I see wisdom. I see a survivor. And if you could actually be wise enough to learn from a man who can share you the good, the bad, and the ugly, you know, because it says a wise man can learn from a man's mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So how they say you live and you learn, but some people just live and they don't learn. And some people actually are not even living. They just haven't died yet. They haven't even experienced actually living. And we have to share that with them so they can have the opportunity to actually live, not just survive through the day, not just trying to not die through the day. I need for we've proven, and they've proven that they can die. They've proven that some of them can take life, but can you actually just live? And I think that's something. And so, you know, I wanted to definitely just thank, you know, you all who definitely, you know, supported, you know, my son's venture on Saturday. You know, I mean, it was such a blessing. You know, it was such a blessing because even when I got a call saying that she was coming to drop some of the stuff off, you know, I was like, man, you know, I didn't expect it, and it was good stuff. You know, sometimes, you know, when you get certain things, you know, when people sometimes give stuff, they don't give, you know what I'm saying, good stuff. They don't, you know, a lot of times, you know, people just give you what they don't want. And so, you know, and so to me, and
we can't hear you, Doc.
You know, your household,
I appreciate
you know, and how y'all supported, and we were able to feed over 60 families, you know, and giving them big boxes of food with everything from strawberries to peaches to, you know, cucumbers and, you know, lettuce, broccoli, and, you know, all of that type of stuff to turkeys, chicken, you know what I'm saying, you know, canned goods and everything. In fact, it was so moving because one man, we were giving him and stuff, and it was so moving because he had just said, you don't know what this means to me. And he said, you know what? He said, I got denied my food stamps and I have not had no unemployment coming in. And he just broke down and cried that somebody had enough to want to do this without expecting any type of money or you got to pay us or anything. And that we have to get back to being people who are concerned about others. You know, and so that was just one of the things that I definitely wanted to say, you know, and share. And it is funny because I was so eager to speak, you know, as Gina was speaking, because she was giving that information, you know, and it was so wild because I know that they didn't want her to speak, you know, at the march because they thought she could say something radical, but I really didn't see her stand as radical. Because they said, if you attack us, we're going to attack you. Well, really, if you attack us, if I respond to that, that's self-defense.
Exactly.
And I've always supported that self-defense. And to be honest with you, during the civil rights movement, they really needed both. They needed a Malcolm X and they needed Martin Luther King. Because what had to happen is that, see, Malcolm X made you want to deal with Martin Luther King. You You know what I mean? Because if I had to choose somebody, they wanted to choose Martin Luther King, you know, over choosing Malcolm X. But it was good to know that it was that alternative. So you can deal with him or you can deal with me. And
yeah.
And so he didn't have that mindset of we just gonna be singing Kumbaya and we gonna let y'all hit us with sticks and hit us with nice sticks. Be like, if you hit me, I'm gonna hit you. If you don't want to, don't hit me. And
that sounds like what I always tell Maurice, that I tell my boys. I do not believe in men hitting women, but don't hit a woman first. That's my take. If she hit you, if she hit you, she knew she was a woman when she hit you. So I know that may not be popular, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, I hear that. You know, I tell my boys, you know, try to walk away in a situation like that. Try to move away. I said, if some woman is swinging at you or whatever, you know, hold those wrists. Try to restrain and try to, as much as you can leave. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to advocate for any of my children, be it women, you know, be a young girl or a young boy, to be allowing somebody to hit them in a frying pan in the head.
Right. And just stand there and take it.
Nah, no, we ain't having none of that. You know what I'm saying? So really, you know what I'm saying? You know, we have to really, you know, we have to understand that self-defense, you know, was looked at as radical, and really that's just self-preservation.
Right.
You know, to me, that's self-preservation. You know, it's funny, and as y'all were talking about, you know, the Harriet Tubman, I had the opportunity to be on the panel with Harriet Tubman's great-great-grandniece, and just talking with her, and then talking to her mother, who unfortunately she just passed in the during the COVID, you know, this past year. You know, but to just really share, you know, with that, you know, that spirit of Harriet Tubman is really the key piece that we have to keep that seed within, you know, in our people, that we're going to stand, and that we're not going to just submit to injustice. And that's the type of message that we have to put out there. You know, so a platform even like this, if we can get one positive message out that might change one life, you know what I'm saying, then it was worth it, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doc, hands up. You know, this is what we offer you as Simply Us. I'm just going to tell you how we piggyback around and move. Doc had his son. It was his birthday, if you didn't know. So his son is, I would call him militant. Doc his son is militant. He's a smart kid, but he's very knowledgeable. He's a chef. He's a lot of things, but he's a smart kid. And what he wanted for his birthday was not then PlayStation or Nintendo or the new Michael Jordan. He wanted to, what he did last year, feed some people. So they went out to Evanston Village Shopping Center, and they set up their little stand and their tables and stuff, and Doc and the rest of them, his family, fed over 60 families. And what we're talking about is how anybody can participate. BB, like when BB's a cook. So she cooks for a living. She cooked for Perkins. She cooks, right? See? When I say she cooks for crowds. She's a cook. That's what she does, literally. So we hear what Doc kept saying. She bought good food.
Right.
She bought good food. So you know, most people just come here and bring you this. BB bringing you some stuff. When my wife and her mother go down there to feed the homeless down there on the Falls Road, and they take a macaroni and cheese. It ain't some instant stuff. They done set up all night and made 200 pounds of macaroni and cheese. When you look at everybody trying to do a little part, you see what I'm saying? When Karen Cunningham wasn't able, Miss Taylor, she's not able to get over there to help out, so she sent her wallet. I can't go over there to make it, so guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a small donation. Me and Gina, you know what I mean? I said, Cece and I from the podcast and from Party Marty's Boom Bounce, here's a small donation for their thing. when we decided that we were going to have this trip, and there was going to be the Harriet Tubman, and we was figuring out what to do, and Gina and I and CC and Doc had put together and got our minds together to see how we were going to do this, when we were going to do it. Gina Lee texted us, right? See, it was done. It's done. We got the time. Here's the date, and I paid the money. I mean, you don't have to always be a certain part of anything. That's what the Doc's message is. You don't have to be a certain part of anything to be a part of everything. You don't have to be BB for the food. You don't have to be me or CC or Cunningham sending the donations. You don't have to be Gina Lee as the person who come up with the trip and pay for it out of her pocket. You don't have to be Brian Samuels that has an idea or Max or anybody. Just be part of something. All these little intricate pieces come together to make one body. To come together to make one body. Hey, y'all, we're a team. My buddy Tony is out there in podcast land. That's the guy that set off the fireworks, y'all. That's my man. Tony's trucking. You'll see his numbers come up there. But he's over there doing something too now. He has an LLC, and he's been out there. He and his lovely wife. They like Holy Roly Bible told us, but you know, they're doing what they have to do in the community. You know what I mean? I call him Holy Roly. You know, Tony, whenever you say something, Tony a big dude. Thug, you know what I mean? Been incarcerated the whole nine. But anything you ever talk to him, he refers back to the word of God. Here comes the engineer down the steps, my wife. That means this rattling is coming from me, correct? And she doesn't know why. So I'm going to keep talking while we don't ever better time. I'm going to go ahead and keep doing my thing. So if y'all don't know, we learn this trial and error as we going along. Okay, turn up a little bit. See if we get. Keep coming up. Keep coming up. Right. Okay. Can y'all hear me out there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Well, that might have helped some. I just helped you, CC. I'm the assistant engineer then. Yeah, that worked. My wife had to come down here to help work with my thing. I'm doing something. But anyway, y'all, we're just regular people doing regular things. We want everybody to get a chance to participate, help out with something. Each one teach one, whatever we're doing. So we have, how old is your son, Doc?
He actually just turned 14. Jeremiah. His name is Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, just man turned 14. And here's what the direction that he's going in. You know, here's the direction that Jeremiah is going in. Already trying to feed people and help somebody. Figure out what part you play in this whole thing that we call life. Gina Lee said something that was heavy. We do not, and like once again, I tell you, this is not a black show, a white show. This is an informative show. We do not fall apart about the history that the wonderful people, as in Caucasians, have took us in. You'll spend the rest of your life being mad at them. You need to get you a life and keep moving on and figure out what you can do to help us from here. You know, Gina Lee just had told you that they had a whole hospital. They gave us one room. They gave us one room. And then that room was womb to the tomb. You could have a baby there or take your last breath when you got shot there. Everything went on that you had to do any care for a beautiful person, a black person in that room. And after it's over with, if the wonderful people needed that room, you were out. Simple as that. Now, if you want to spend your time being pissed at that, go ahead and do it. But as doctors telling you, instead of being pissed at the person that only gave us one room, why don't you be the person that buys the hospital so that we can have 100 rooms, so that we can have 1,000 rooms. Right. That's what she's out there saying. Instead of being pissed about our past and stuff like that, listen to what Gina taught you and start working towards the future. Start working towards the future. Druid Hill had a black swimming pool and a white swimming pool. I didn't know. And I worked there 12, 13 years. Played there, swam there all my life. Didn't know nothing about it. As soon as she told me about a black and white pool, I spent my time being pissed. I don't believe they gave us a separate pool. How sick am I? I swam in that pool all the time. Didn't know. And I was fine until I got that information. So instead of letting it help me out, don't let it poison you.
Right.
Get something to learn from it. Get something to learn from it. Hey, Doc, once again, everybody, hands up to Doc. What a great topic. And that this hands here is for Jeremiah, his son.
And you know what?
I seen a lot of y'all BB Jeremiah birthday on the 17th. Happy birthday, Jeremiah, from the panel. Happy birthday, Jeremiah.
He want to know.
Happy birthday.
He want to know if the 17th was his actual birthday.
No, I'm sorry. Actually, his birthday was actually on the 18th. It was Sunday, you know, and, you know, it was really something as far as, but his birthday was on the 18th. And it's funny because on his actual birthday, we asked him, what did he want to do? He said he just wanted to go to Barnes and Nobles and let him buy some books. And, you know, and let me tell you how special he is. And I just got to share this part with you. The way that he got his name, Jeremiah, when my wife went into labor, I was going through some papers. I was trying to look for some insurance stuff. And I ran across my charge papers when they raided my house years ago. And I realized, you know, and my wife said, why don't you throw that away? And I said, I don't know. I just can't throw it away. And when we got down there, I realized that my son, you know, was when we picked him up when he was born. I picked him up and I held him in my in my arms, and I looked out the window. And what I realized is that looking at that date that they raided my house and that, you know, I went to court, you know, the court date that they were trying to give me, they were offering me 15 years. That actually, you know what I'm saying, the court date that they offered me 15 years, they were that was actually the same month that my son Jeremiah was born, and 15 years later. And so I realized that when he was born and I'm holding him, I was looking at, and the sign came on and it said Mercy, because I was at Mercy Hospital. And the room, I was looking at the jail across the street from the hospital that they were going to send me to. And so it was so ironic that I was looking at, instead of 15 years of me just coming out all swole now and all with that trash bag with everything I own, look at all the things that God allowed me to do in those 15 years. Because he changed the situation, he changed the narrative. God talked to the judge, so they dismissed all of what I was supposed to get. But I'm only sharing that is when I looked at what I was supposed to get, but I had in my arms what God gave me. I realized then that, you know, I told my wife his name is going to be Jeremiah. And I said, because even when he was in the womb, before he was in the womb, God knew that I was going to be standing here.
Yes.
Thanking God, you know what I'm saying? And that, you know, even so I say his name is going to be Jeremiah, you know, that was the prophet, you know, and then that was the person who they said he was, before he was even in the womb, they knew who he was. And so that whole, you know, blessing. So for me to go through that situation, and for me to be standing the same month that I was supposed to be getting out of jail, standing right there, holding my son, looking at the jail that they were going to send me to across the street from the hospital, you know, I just thought that was that name of being Jeremiah was going to have to be significant, and he has lived up to his name.
Run tell that. You know what? It reminds me, Cunningham, you're right. Look at God. You know what I mean? Reminds my mother was here. She was singing her song. Boy, when I think of the goodness of Jesus,
come on,
and all he's done for me, my heart says dance, 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 dance all night. She used to do that, boy. We used to sing all this. When I look at the goodness of Jesus, and all he's done for me, my heart says dance, 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 dance all night. Gina, get in there, Gina Lee.
You done jerked some tears out of Gina. I see you,
I'm
Gina.
telling you.
I'm telling you. You just think about this. I retired from the great Clifton T. Perkins with BB and Cunningham. And this podcast has linked me back with them. Me and BB talk sometime, you know what I mean? But Cunningham and I haven't been in the loop for a lot. You know what I mean? When we used to laugh and joke every day. Me and Cunningham laughed and joked every day. And look where it put us back in there. And when Doc made that little small, noble gesture, when he said, man, Party, I'm not going to be able to go on the thing with y'all, but I like to bless the lady Cunningham that called and sent a little donation. Now, she already knew that he knew BB was a winner, but you just never know where a person's heart is. You know what I mean? You never know where their mind is. Doc immediately thought about giving somebody something. Man. That was a small gesture, but can you imagine what the small gesture means to Karen?
And let me just add this really quickly, that Karen Cunningham is not local. She lives in North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? She reached out to help this community when the community sometimes doesn't help the community.
Come on now.
You know,
come on
she knew she couldn't be here physically, so she did what she could. You know what I'm saying? And it was a blessing to one of those 60 families.
Yeah.
So I just like to say hats off to my friend Karen Cunningham, and thank you so much for reaching out and for caring.
Hands up. That's an awesome job, y'all. If y'all don't know, like I'm saying, this is what we do, y'all. This is what we do. And the CC usually bring food all the time. You know what I mean? Yes, CC. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just never know another person's position and where they're going and what direction they have. So anyway, everybody that's listening to the podcast, y'all, we do the best we can to do the best job we can. We put some research in. You know what I mean? I always throw Doc out there because you hear Doc tell the story, being enraged. You hear Doc say he been incarcerated. We called him West Baltimore Crazy Ted. You know what I mean? It's a sad thing to say. Everybody, the West Baltimore people know him. Doc was known for his weapon of choice. Doc was known for his weapon of choice. Doc, when we grew up, was known because he carried a sawed-off shotgun. We called him Crazy Ted because he walked around with a sawed-off shotgun. Doc's godfather is who, Doc?
Lil Melvin.
Lil Melvin. When you go to him, you start telling all these stories and what somebody, I heard Lil Melvin is. Y'all don't know Melvin. You don't know Black. You know what I mean? You don't know Black. You done heard something. You think he's some kind of gangster. He ain't never been a gangster in his life. Always chase money. They ain't never drank. Ain't never smoked a cigarette. Ain't never drunk a cup of coffee. Ain't never did none of that. He just knew how to get money.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? And people don't know us about Melvin. He gave away more stuff than they'll ever have.
Come on now.
He always gave stuff away. Coming there, the lady said the Frigidaire is $55. Tell that story about what the lady was saying about the price of the refrigerator.
It was wild. We were in front of Lil Melvin's, flea market on North Avenue, and I was talking to him. But a lady walked up and she asked him how much, was it? And he told her that, I think it was like $80 or something like that. And she said no. She was like, no, because I talked to the owner and he said that I could get this for less than that. You know what I'm saying? He told me he said, well, who'd you talk to? He said, I talked to Lil Melvin, but she was talking to Lil Melvin. So she really did not know him. She just know the legend of Lil Melvin. She didn't imagine that he would be the one cleaning out the actual refrigerator himself. And she said, I talked to him, and then she had to share with him. He said, well, ma'am, just to share what you see. He said, I'm Lil Melvin. And she looked like she had saw a ghost. And he said, but you tell me, what can you pay? And then she told me, he said, well, then that's fine. And then he gave it to her for what she had said. But it was just so ironic that she's sitting there having a conversation, telling him about him. And she had no idea that he was actually Lil Melvin. You know what I'm saying? And so it was almost like people used to call him the ghost because everybody knew the name, but nobody really had as much interaction with him directly, like that. And so some people had knew of the legend, but they really did not know him.
I like I say, my brother, rest in peace, Black Purdy, was a gangster. You know what I mean? So I knew Mel, but we call him Black. You know, he literally wore black every single day.
Every
7
day.
days a week, 365 days a year, he wore black. And he used to call, and I mean, you know, I was West Baltimore Party Marty. I'm pretty much out there. My name rings in the street and all that, but there's levels to this thing. You know what I mean? There's levels to that. People don't know that about when they start talking gangsters. There's levels to being a gangster. Everybody know who West Baltimore Party Marty is. You know what I mean? But I'm not running around with Crazy Ted, Lil Melvin, Liddy Jones, Dennis Wise. There's levels to this thing. You can be who you think you are, but there's levels to this thing. And the real people like Black would kill me. He was the friendliest person you would ever know.
Yes, he
just
was.
didn't talk a lot. He didn't trust people. Now, you know, he didn't trust people. He didn't. All he has to say to us was, "Get money, youngin." He never knew my name. My name was my respect was Lil Purdy. That's who I was. Hey, I call Lil Purdy. That was my brother. He knew my brother. Brother's a gangster, so he called Lil Purdy. So what I'm saying is, you don't see these people going up there to get a bunch of accolades. Mel was right there wiping that refrigerator out like everybody else. He used to always, everybody, and Dr. Ted, we won't use up much of this, but Dr. Ted will probably tell you, Mel used to like doing things with his hand. You don't see him out there wiping his car.
Yeah, he would get the broom and start sweeping. He would just get the broom and start sweeping. You know,
feel me?
I'm gonna tell you one of the most powerful scenes that I saw is when the riots was going on and everybody was going crazy. The police wouldn't go in, and then they had most of the community activists and pastors. They were in New Shiloh and would not come out into the riots. I'm talking about when it was really going down. And I took 12 men, and we was just in there helping people. But when the riots, when everything was burning, I said, man, we got to check on Black. And I ran into a friend of mine, and he was a Q dog from Morgan. You know what I'm saying? His name was Cordell, and he had about 6 Q dogs with him. And they came and they teamed up with my guys. And I said, we got to check on Black. We got to check on Melvin. And I went down there and everything was being burned. Everything was being burned right before you got to his block and across the street. But when you got to his block, nothing was touched on his whole block. From Pulaski, you know, to the next street, nothing was touched. And he was just standing there by himself with his hands in his pockets. And the people that was burning in stores and everything else, they saw him. Now, this gang members and everything, they saw him, looked and knew who it was, and they went around that entire block and started burning stuff on the other side. And I thought that was so powerful that this one, because he's not a big guy, you know what I'm saying? You
not at all.
Kind of thin, you know what I'm saying? You know, and everything, you know, and everything, you know, was being torn up except for his entire block from one end to the other. And he was upset. And I said, well, what you upset? He said, because if I'd had just maybe 2 more men, I could have stopped what was going across the street. I said, Lord, have mercy. This, you know, but it was such a powerful vision that I saw with this man standing, a frail, you know what I'm saying, you know, older man standing there, and people knew that we ain't gonna have no parts of touching nothing over there. And I was amazed because, I mean, you know, I knew that he had stopped the riots in the 60s. The governor had asked him to help stop the riots in the 60s, and he went out, and you always tell that story, brother, about how you heard what he said. You know, you were there. And but to see that image, it was amazing to me. And it's funny, I'm still trying to get out of wearing all black. You know what I'm saying? I'm wearing a great shirt today. Look, my truck is black, my car is black. Most of my in fact, even when in the restaurant, I said that I told my wife I'm not gonna always sit, you know, because I always sit with my back to the wall and I'm watching the door. And I said I'm gonna try to not sit, you know, there, but y'all gotta watch my back. I told my wife, y'all gotta watch my back. I said, because I'm trying to break out of some of that, you know what I'm saying? But it was really something. So I'm still conditioned myself. I'm still a work in progress, y'all. Pray for me.
Yeah, listen, y'all. We pray for all of that. I mean, Gina, That's one thing, y'all. I like this about Gina. You look at it, Ted. Look at it, Doc. See it, and look at it. See when you see Gina, you talking something she want to hear. Gina do this.
She all in.
She is a sponge. She's absorbing this. You giving us some knowledge?
I'm just gonna say, it touches my heart when I hear about young people that are making a difference. And I know that this happens because of who is raising them. I know that that's the difference. I know it. All of us right here are products of who raised us.
Absolutely.
And it didn't have to always be our parents. It could have been someone else, like Maurice. It could have been Carol Gibson. It could have been, anybody that had a positive influence on our lives. And I commend you because I know that you are the one that has instilled these values in your children. I know you are. And TC, I commend you for the values that you have instilled in your children to be productive and positive individuals in this society that is out here. You too, Maurice, you have, no matter what your family dynamics have been, you've managed to work it out so that everybody can be productive and successful in this society. That's what it takes. We are human beings. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not.
Absolutely. And no matter what, Gina, don't forget, we need the Gina Lees of the world in there too. Because people fail to realize that, it definitely does take a village.
Exactly.
It takes a village. We need those positive role models, those mentors, as the young people call the unks and the aunties. We need them too. You know what I'm saying? The parents can't do it all because it definitely takes a village. This is not the world that we were raised for.
Right.
We try to raise our children and instill the best values in them that we can, but they're not being raised in the world that we grew up in. So we have to make sure that they're prepared for what's happening, the here and the now.
That's right.
You know what? Y'all out there in podcast land, you know what I mean? If it sounds like I'm bragging on Simply Us, it's because I am. If it sounds like I'm bragging on our podcast, it's because I am. This is an awesome panel we have. We have heavy hitters. We have good topics. We have good balance. You know what I mean? We have a great engineer. We got historians. You know what I mean? I keep telling y'all, young people out here, please, if it is the B, let it start with me. Stop thinking that Billy Jim Bob is an old tobacco-chewing Caucasian guy with a doctor's suit on that runs around and make you call him doc. A doctor is somebody with a PhD. You just heard a man talking about dealing with incarceration. You heard a man talking about he's little Melvin's godson. I've told you I knew back in the day when he literally carried a sawed-off shotgun. When he sits back and talks about his past, I want you to see what a doctor really looks like. A doctor, a person with a PhD, a regular guy. You get what I'm saying? Stop always thinking that we can't achieve things. Stop being pissed off about your past. I don't give a damn where you been at. Don't nobody care. Just like now, Ted, if we go to jail, you know what? When in my incarcerations, I can walk through pretty much any penal institution and live off my name because I'm West Baltimore Party Marty. These kids, man, don't give a damn about West Baltimore Party Marty. I'm Black Slicky Woo Woo. Don't make me bust your head. They don't care. You don't get nothing for being an OG man. You don't get nothing for the legwork you've done. You feeling me? As they saying, what CC is saying, what Gina is saying, what Doctor's saying, these are different trying times, yo. You gotta try something different now. We need everybody in here. Hey, y'all, great topic. I'm going to leave this, though, Doc. I was there on Pennsylvania Avenue when they put the stage up, when Lil Melvin came to speak. Everybody from to see Liddy there, to see, Black there, to see Will Franklin, Beatty Brooks, you know what I mean, Bummy Mike, you know what I mean, to see all these gangsters and hitters, because, they all hung at the Club Astoria. So you seen them with TV tanks, you seen them come and go. But when they got there, they erected this big stage on Pennsylvania and Fulton, I guess that's where it is, with the barbershops and all up. And they put this stage up and all, so Melvin's going to come up and speak. And we all was coming up there for this long conversation. I was a kid, but I was with Black Purdy. And he just came up, and they went to introduce him and stuff. He walked over there, just a small, old, frail guy with a black tee on, a black pair of jeans. Gina, Cece, he came up on the stage. They went to hand him the mic, took the mic in his hand. You know what he said?
What?
That's enough, y'all. It's over. That's enough. That's all he said. He ended the riots by saying, that's enough, y'all. That's enough. It's over. And Ted, walk back down the steps. That's it? No bells and whistles, no bombs bursting in the air, no arms crossed. That's enough, y'all. That's enough. It's over. And that day ended the riots.
That's so powerful.
That's so powerful. As they talk about everything else, y'all know our little thing that we always say. Y'all talk about everything else about us. We got something that we say, run, tell that. Bring it back from 3, y'all. 3, 2, 1. Run, tell that. Run, tell that. Y'all tell everything else. Run, tell that. All right, y'all. Let's segue in. Hey, y'all. Hey, Gina and Doc. Good way to start us. We get ready to fall off the ledge now. Time to jump off the cliff. Here comes Cece. She finished. Everybody gonna hate everybody. Cece, what we call it? I said, see, all you're talking about, you know what she calls it, y'all? Important events happening in the world today.
I can't help how messed up the world is. I didn't make it. I just live in it.
Right.
Okay, y'all. Let's move right along. Cece, we really rolling here. What's your topic today? Let's talk.
Okay. My topic today is I wanted to talk about Eric Garner. So I'm sure that everybody, or those of you that can remember that Eric Garner is the man in New York who was killed by police for selling the loose cigarettes.
Yes.
Okay. So, what happened about
that? He was placed in a chokehold, and this was 7 years ago. And he was same thing like with George Floyd. They choked him to death. That's just, we could dress it up all we want, but that's what happened.
Murdered him.
So over the weekend, the Garner family gathered to have an event on Saturday to commemorate the anniversary of his death. And they said that I was not aware. But I wasn't aware of the fact that the Officer Pantaleo is his name, New York City police officer Daniel Pantaleo, because I like to call these cowards by their name.
That's right.
So, he was never charged.
No.
He never did a day in jail. He lost his job in 2019. Now, mind you, this happened in 2014. He lost his job in 2019 after an administrative judge overseeing the police department disciplinary trial found him guilty of using the chokehold on Garner. Now, the disciplinary judge said that he was responsible, but he has never, to this day, been charged criminally. So there was a release of his records, and the release of his records, which they were held back at first because of some statute that they had that was to protect police officers' records from being exposed to the public. So once this was overturned, it was a law known as 50A. So once this was overturned, his disciplinary record became public knowledge. This man had 7 instances of police misconduct, violence, the kind of things that he should have never been on the street. And these 7 incidents happened before the Eric Garner incident.
Wow.
So they are launching an investigation into Mayor Bill de Blasio's administration and the LAPD, because the administrative judge said that the deputy commissioner of trials, and I wrote this because I wanted to quote exactly what was said. She said, here, Pantaleo use of a chokehold fell so far short of objective reasonableness that this tribunal found it to be reckless, a gross deviation from the standard of conduct established for a New York City police officer. Moreover, Pantaleo's glaring dereliction of responsibility precipitated a tragic outcome. Now, I bring this up to say that we always look at the police department, but as these multiple incidents are happening all over the country, something is wrong with the judicial system. Something is wrong with the fact that police officers and civilians alike, that these people are still roaming the streets. Because this man, clearly, with the kind of record that he had, Eric Garner should still be alive today.
Yes.
Just like the incident where in Annapolis, where the man's stray bullet hit the mother of the the Marine, he was being inducted into the Marine Academy or the Naval Academy or something, and the stray bullet hit his mother while she was sitting out there on the balcony. And the person who fired is somebody with an extensive criminal record. He was already on home monitor. He cut off the home monitor bracelet. He had evaded the home monitor a few years before that, and they put him back on there. I'm like, what are we doing? What are these judges doing? We can always say, the police, and don't get me wrong, those few that are no good in the police department, shame on you. And I agree with everybody else, but I think that we have to start looking elsewhere, because these judges are just constantly putting these repeat violent offenders on the street. And these police officers, they are officers of the law. They take an oath to protect and serve. And if somebody has a record where they have 7 incidences of brutality, violence, dereliction of duty, all of these good things that this man may have been charged with, why was he even out there? You know what I'm saying? He had a pattern. This man showed a pattern of abusing his authority. So why is he even still out there? We have to look at so many other avenues, because defund the police and screw the police and all of that, it sounds good on TV, but we need the police. You know what I'm saying? If a crime is committed against you, you dial 911, you want somebody to show up. So that's not the answer as far as I'm concerned. But we have to look at, why are these people given so many chances to perpetrate these crimes?
Good topic, Steve. Doc.
And you know what? It's odd that you say that, because just like we were on the anniversary of his death, I was actually in New York selling my son Jeremiah's 7th birthday in New York, and I had spoken Jersey City, and I took him to a restaurant called Melba's. He really, because you know he does the chef thing, and that's actually the niece of a lady named Sylvia. She had the famous restaurant called Sylvia's that everybody from the Apollo would go to, and her niece is Melba. She took him in the back, let him meet all of the chefs and everything. That's when he was 7. And so we were actually in New York when Eric Garner, you know what I'm saying, actually was killed. We were, you know, right there, when everything was kind of going down. And so I thought that was so unfortunate because, see, I think when they say defund the police, I think things need to be put in perspective because, first of all, it don't make sense. If you don't have a plan to put in place, you can't just say all the police need to go home. What they need to do is that some of those bad cops or some of the ones, they need to be checked by the good ones. They need to be held accountable by their coworkers. And then they should not be allowed to just continue to get all of these hours of overtime. You know what I'm saying? Some of the money should go into training them to protect and serve like they took the oath, you know, and that's what I really feel. So I when people always say that defund the police, I don't agree with that to the degree that they put it out there. They just saying like just we don't need no police and let's just do community programs. That's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. We're going to need, you know what I'm saying, police, per se, but we need the good ones to check some of the bad ones, and then after 3 incidents, there should be no way that they excel. There should be no way that they are still on the force in the street. They need to be on desk duty somewhere, but they do not need to be handling people because they do not know how to handle people. I could deal with maybe he was anxious one time, and maybe the second time he lost his temper. But when you get to the third time, you have established what's called a method of operation. It's your pattern. You know what I'm saying? And see, people that don't feel that they can get justice will seek street justice. So we always have to be above board and letting people know that no matter whether you are Rockefeller or you just, you know what I'm saying, or you just straight off in the gutter, drunk on the streets of Pennsylvania Avenue, you are still going to receive the same level of integrity and respect that you deserve as a human being. And so, absolutely. Yeah. So pretty much, I think that I feel my heart goes out to that family to actually, be out there. In fact, actually, when I was up there, I was speaking. I was on stage. It's funny. I was just looking at a picture when I was speaking up there. I was speaking on Malcolm X. Saying street. And it was with Grandmaster Flash, and also they called them the Central Park 5. But at the time, people didn't know as much about them because that series hadn't come out yet, and so we were on stage together. And so but to see this family still in this pain, we are going to have to do a lot of healing because there's a lot of pain that people are really not addressing. Because when a life is taken by a police officer, that makes a son hate the police.
And this was a father. This man was a father of 6.
Come on now. I mean, can you imagine that? 6. So now
children. And one of the children's mother said that 7 years later, nothing has changed. We got a lot of streets named after us to try to keep us quiet. But nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. This officer still has not been held accountable. And now that they say that this decision has been made by the appellate court, that this sets this up, that October 25th is supposed to go in front of the New York State Supreme Court, because they're supposed to be able to, they want to look at the NYPD, and they want to look at Mayor Bill de Blasio's administration. They said very little investigation was done into this matter. It was just a debacle. They didn't do what they should have done, and that all police departments lately with the social justice movements, we've been hearing about this one and that one. But the NYPD has been running rampant for a very long time, and it's just time that somebody is held accountable. If you don't want to be held accountable, then you should think about the moves that you make, because it's a sad, sad world that we live in when we have our youth afraid of police officers. You know what I'm saying? Well, we have to sit down and have these conversations with our sons and our daughters to tell them how to act, not to move. Don't make any sudden moves when you stop by the police. It's just a ridiculous state of affairs.
You know what's so ironic? I saw some children and they were playing like, you know how people used to play cops and robbers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The problem is that they were arguing over who was going to be pretty much the robber, because nobody wanted to be the cop. They looked at the cop as the bad guy.
Wow.
And I thought that was so significant, that just to see played out with our children, and because it's dealing with their psyche and how they view life. So right now you are arguing that you would rather be the guy that's stealing the car as opposed to being the guy who's supposed to be officer friendly, who is the officer. So nobody wanted to be the officer. You're going to be the officer. No, I'm not being the officer. I told you I'm not being the officer. You better be the cop. I'm not being the cop. And I just thought, I said that, it's so unfortunate, because we are looking at a shift of how the dynamics have changed in our community. And so life is kind of like viewed different. That means that their innocence is really being taken away. You know what I'm saying? You should not be somewhere and your child look at an officer and he start trying to get behind you because he don't know if he's going to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Gina?
Well, this goes all the way back to slavery. Here we go again. If you look at it, the same thing. How do you think a child felt back then, knowing that a white mob just hanged their father?
That's right.
Yeah.
So you grow up with racial, differences. You feel a certain way about a different race, no matter what, because they killed your parents. We can go all the way back before then. When they were bringing us over here, if we were ill or whatever, they just threw us off the ship.
Right.
And let us drown. They didn't give us any health care or anything like that. So the others around, of course, they felt a certain way about a different racial group.
Right. And go ahead, Gina. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just saying, these are issues that we have passed down from generation to generation to generation. That's why I commend you guys for what you've done with your families. It's hard to imagine trying to teach a young person these days to be open-minded and try to live your life with some type of love, but at the same time, don't let anybody treat you unfairly.
Yeah.
So it's hard to try to instill that in any young person these days. So I just as far as Eric Garner, we've got the Eric Garners, the Tamar Rices, the Orlando Castiles. We've got all of them, and no convictions. That's why the George Floyd case was so, I guess, dynamic for us. We wanted to finally see somebody pay the price for our lives.
Right.
That's what we we finally wanted to see that, but it doesn't change anything unless you change what's in the police force.
Absolutely.
Anything unless you change what the element that they are hired.
Cece, go ahead.
I just wanted to give y'all something else really quick for like 2 minutes, because Doc and Gina, I wanted to know if y'all heard about what was going on in Texas. The Texas Republicans voted to end the rule requiring teaching of certain civil rights topics. They want to not teach about Martin Luther King. They want to not teach about Harriet Tubman. They want to remove all of these things from the curriculum. And they also want to not teach the students that white supremacy is morally wrong. They want to remove those things from. I mean, of course, they passed it, but as we all know, all the Democrats have left town, and they're not there to be able to vote on it. So it hasn't gone through. But this is what they proposed. I thought that was like the most ridiculous and the most overtly racist thing that I have ever seen.
Yes. The same location that Juneteenth was started at.
Absolutely.
Because the slave owners would not tell the slaves that they were free. And it took 2 years later to happen. The same place, and this is the same state that is trying to suppress it.
One second. Now, what did you say, Doc, about the slave owners didn't tell the slaves they were free? Go ahead.
Well, I was saying that Juneteenth is like people of color's 4th of July, to be honest with you.
Right.
Okay, correct. They celebrated like that because after the Declaration, and after General Lee had surrendered, they had lost the war. But in Texas, they had some plantations that refused to tell the slaves that the North had won and that they actually were now free. And so, so some black troops actually came through, and they came through with some other troops, and they were sharing the news to different plantation owners to give the information and let these people leave or choose to stay and work. They can work for money, or you got to pay them or something.
Indentured service.
Let known that they were actually free, and that actually happened in Texas. Saying?
And that was 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed.
Yes, it was.
For 2 years and didn't know they were free.
Didn't know they were free.
Wow.
This is what I got. This is why history is important. At that time, I'm sure they couldn't read. They weren't allowed to read. They weren't allowed to share information. So this is why it's important that we as a people share information so that we don't repeat these kinds of things.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said it before. That's about you want to have from a black person, put it in the book. People like Doc Sutton.
Read. Karen Cunningham. I think Karen posted something up there to talk about Cece. It's every time you see Cece, she's reading a book. That's how I ended up with my wife. My wife reads anything, reads ketchup bottles. All she does is read. You know what I mean? That's what she does, And Karen Cunningham worked with us. That's the first thing she remembered about it. Cece was always reading a book. So sometimes
and Gina, here's the I made sure that some of these things I have them the quotes because I don't want to get them wrong. I want to get them exactly the way that they said them. And they said Senate President Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick in a statement to KVUE news station said parents want their students to learn how to think critically, not be indoctrinated by the ridiculous leftist narrative that America and our Constitution are rooted in racism.
Wow.
I mean, some of this stuff is not even funny. None of it is funny, but sometimes the things that people have the audacity to say out loud is just laughable.
They're trying to change history.
Exactly.
Yes. The golden rule, y'all. He who has the gold makes the rules. The golden rule. He who has the gold.
That's why it's called his story.
No, exactly.
It's not my story. My story is a mystery.
Yeah. Hey, y'all. Once again, another awesome day, another awesome job with the panel. I hope everybody learned something today. I know I sure did. If nobody else learn anything from these podcasts, I do. I want y'all to know we do a lot of research to try to get to where we are. I have a panel of persons that give you so much diversity and so many different angles that we come from. Pick yourself a point. Pick yourself, get in where you fit in. Pick yourself somewhere. Either learn something from Gina with history, learn something from Cece about important events today, or learn something from Doc to show you what you can achieve. You want to learn something from me? God allows U-turns. You want to learn nothing else from Party Marty? Remember that God allows U-turns. Today I learned something. You know what? Our show used to start in the evening at 7 o'clock, but now it's 9:30 in the morning. I found out some doc was just getting up, and my Cece wake up 5 o'clock just to get up, so you can't go by her. She just gets up 5. I don't know what the hell she's doing at 5 o'clock in the morning. But usually I'm coming from work. So I'm coming from work. I work 11 to 7. I get here around 8:15, so I'm cool for the show. But I was off last night, and I relaxed. I got up today, Doc, man. I'm going to do better, y'all. I apologize. I had bariatric surgery, so I have to eat every so often. I was starving over here. I'm there's a hostage. Do you hear me? Trying to get through there. And Donnie Glover told us, you're not supposed to be eating on air and all that. I try to do whatever I can, you know what I mean, and put a snack or something in me. Well, if not, I'll get every few hours I got to eat. All right, y'all. Right. Another hey, y'all, to a good show. Hands up to a good show, everybody. Hands up to a good show to everybody in the audience. Once again, Karen Cunningham, Brenda Bailey's BB, Carl Edmonds Max. Congratulations on y'all winning your trip to see the Harriet Tubman Tour, which is an all-day event. It's in August or sometime, and we'll post everything to keep you in the loop. Congratulations, Cunningham, on being awarded that spot from Doc and everybody that did everything that they could do to make that a success. August the 6th, the Harriet Tubman Tour. We'll be taking that. All right, y'all. We've been over our time. We always do good. Hey, Cece, I'm going to let you start off by taking us home your closing thoughts, but help me out by... Cece, if you could, can you speak on this new pandemic that's starting to get real again, please?
Well, you know that's usually what I close on anyway, and today is no different. So, the Delta variant. I had some numbers for you guys because we can talk about this thing until we turn blue in the face, but we gotta give you some numbers. Fully vaccinated Americans, the percentage of fully vaccinated Americans is close to 50%, but we're still left in 50% nationwide. In the past 2 weeks, the average daily cases has more than doubled from 13,200 on the 4th of July to 32,300 as of July 18. And the American Academy of Pediatrics has recommended that all kids wear masks in the fall when they go back to school. Now, we know there's a big misinformation campaign going on out here. I'm not saying that the CDC said that, because the CDC still has not changed their stance. But out of an abundance of caution, that is the recommendation of the American Pediatric Society, that all children over 2 wear masks when they go back to school. This thing is real, y'all. It's rising again. States are going back to the mask mandates. Kansas has recently done so. Los Angeles County has recently done so. So we slowly sliding in the wrong direction. It's a lot of people out here, whether you know it or not, that have not been vaccinated. So please, 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 guys, we saw what 2020 was like. You know, we saw that a lot of people's businesses suffered. We saw that a lot of people didn't have money, food scarcity, all of this stuff. So if it's one simple thing that we can do is get the vaccine, and right now I'm still gonna wear the damn mask.
Yeah. Hey, on that note, I'm thinking, you know, sometimes we don't know. Cece looks at me, you know, we won't put names out there, but I came in the house baffled the other day when I told her I was with somebody I'd always been with. I mean, a regular human being, a thorough guy, you know, one of my mobs and stuff like that. And then idle conversation, we was talking about something while we was in the car riding along, and he calmly said, man, yeah, man, that's just why I didn't get the shot. They ain't gonna kill me. It went over my head for a minute. I said, I'm thinking, what shot he talking about? You can't be talking about the vaccine because everybody got that. He said, yeah, that's why I ain't get that because, you know, they ain't gonna kill me. And then I asked him, I said, you ain't getting the shot? No, I ain't getting the shot. I ain't getting it. I said, this damn fool. I mean, a regular person, Doc. A regular person, G, one of us. I ain't talking no idiot. I'm talking about somebody that go in your house every day to do maintenance. I'm talking about somebody that got insurance, somebody that drive a car, somebody that's buying a house, a regular person. This damn idiot turned around and said, I ain't getting it because of that. I mean, I know 2 people that died from that in the doctor here. I know a 500,000 that's dead. You know what I mean? You know 2 people that got sick. And I don't know if anybody even knows this, but the vaccination, it literally injects the virus in you. Mm-hmm. So your system can get immunity to it, so it can build up some tolerance. But Gina says it better than anybody. Back in the day, you got a polio shot, you got all them, and you better not say you wasn't going to get it. It came over to you, hit you within your arm, told you go to you and Miss Savage class, go to school. Right? Yeah, that was it. You and Miss Savage class, go to school. You ain't in the classroom if you didn't get it. Who knows what was in those shots? Right. You got it one way or another.
And so, we all lived to tell a story.
Yeah, following up with what Gina would say, my line. First of all, wear the mask, but get the damn shot. Doc, closing thoughts.
I'm going to close it a little bit different and just do it like this. First, I was born in sin, now I'm born again. No weapon formed against me can begin to win. There are no rules to break and no rules to bend. Just have faith like Daniel in the lion's den. And it doesn't even matter if you're deep in sin. Your life can be spared and won't have to end. But you can't be swayed about getting paid and laid and start handling your business and stop being afraid. Because you have to make a stand for what's righteous. Because as I like this, because you know the words, you can't fight this. But you might like this. But even in spite this is not entertainment. Because God helped me write this. So maybe I might just spiritually hype this. Righteous, right? And yes, I did incite this. I'm like a college professor just doing his sabbatical. And yes, I'm about to get radical. Praise for days and days on end. I won't back up. I won't break and I won't bend. Protect when man, respect the land. Be a man, while you're taking your stand. And to all of the principals, counselors, police officers and judges and state's attorneys that gave up on this G, all I can say is, he saw the best in me.
Run, yes.
Tell that. When everyone else around me, he saw the worst in me. And I like this part that says, because he's mine and I am his. All of that stuff I did, it doesn't matter what I did. He only sees me as Dr. Ted. He saw the best. And my name is Dr. Ted, Freedom Fighter Sutton, and I support that message.
Yes.
Run, tell that.
Yes.
Run, tell that.
Yes.
Run, tell that.
Yes.
Run, tell that. Good job, Doc.
Yes.
Good job, Doc. Bring us home, Gina.
Beautiful.
Bring us home.
Man, oh man, oh man. I don't even know how to follow that. But I'm gonna use one of Doc's lines. Man, oh my God. I'm gonna use one of his lines. You got what he say? You got 2 ears. So let's listen more. You got 2 eyes. Let's learn more. So cover your mouth with the mask, the damn mask, so you can live more.
Right.
Hey, I'm gonna do that. You know, Doc, it look like you the leader with this thing. Doc said something else. I'm gonna use what is. You show me 7 of your friends, and I'll show you my future. You looking at 3 of mine. You looking at 3 of mine. Don't tell me what I can't be. Don't tell me what I won't be. I'm gonna show you what I am. If you remember me from back in the day, I'm West Baltimore Party Marty. My government name is Maurice Tates, ex-West Baltimore dope fiend, jailbird thug. One more time, ex-West Baltimore dope fiend, jailbird thug. They got a name for me now. It's called a miracle. You know what I did, y'all? I changed my circle. I changed my thoughts. I changed my pattern. I changed my way. I prayed my God. I got the right wife. I did the things that I need to do to change my damn life. Everybody that's out there within the earshot of this, we call ourselves Simply Us. Please support us. Please do whatever you can to learn something. Just take your time. Don't say I missed the show. It runs all day long. Hit it later. Sitting on the toilet, turn the show on. You ain't doing nothing, turn the show on. Laying in the bed, turn the show on. I bet you know when Lil Wayne's birthday is. I bet you know if Cardi B had a new boyfriend. I bet you know the words and songs and lyrics to every rap song there is. But I learned today that the reason for Juneteenth is a simple thing. They didn't tell us that we were free.
There you go.
When I said Juneteenth, I didn't know exactly what Juneteenth was for. I learned that today.
Right.
I learned that today. Run, tell that. Hey, y'all, everybody.
And we're watching y'all in Texas. Shame on you.
Shame on you.
Oh, yeah. Plus, Texas, I meant to tell you something else. What you did, you're going to hell for it, too. That's something else that a lot of people don't know. Y'all think y'all do something and don't nobody see you. Guess what? God see you. You're going to hell.
God see
You're going to hell. You keep playing around with these things. You think it's hot outside now, it's 90 degrees. Wait till you get over there with your skin balling and gnash, fine brimstone, you're going to hell. Hey, everybody out there, hands up. Hands up, panel. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Boy, we done ran over. We done had a good time. I thank everybody for listening. Once again, we call ourselves Simply Us. I like to leave off with the same way that I leave. This is not a black show. This is not a white show. It's an informative show. If you get a chance, y'all, be somebody important. Be yourself. Learn something. I got a favorite rapper. His name is Eminem. I don't care if he's white, black, or green. He has a song, one of my favorites, and it simply says, you got to lose yourself in the music, the moment. You got to own it. You got to never let it go. I only got one shot. I did not miss my chance, nor did I blow. This is what we call our podcast show. Hands up. Hands up, everybody. Awesome job. Awesome job. Hey, listen, Kenny Davis, if you up there listening, Kenny Davis got a line that I always use in my roll call. After it's all over, he always says, now go off and have a great day on purpose. Simple as that. Go off, y'all, and have a great day on purpose. Have a good day, Gina. Have a good day, guys. Have a good day, CC. Run, tell it. Run, tell everybody. And as always, to God be the glory.
And big love to Herb Tongue. We saw you out there, Herb.
All right.